SuperTalk Mississippi Media production.
I'm Steve Azar, and I'm on the other side of the microphone, meaning I'm asking the questions this time, and oh, have mercy for the airwaves. I spent 20 years in Music City, wrote and made some hits, traveled the world, and then moved my family back to the birthplace of American music and where the magnolia trees prosper. And now every time I put my feet on Mississippi soil, when I'm off the road, well, I'm at peace. On this show, it's all about hearing the stories straight from the mouths of the friends I've made along the way, their journey to success. Heck, there might be someone on I don't even know, but you know how us Mississippi types are. We tend to take well to new company. In a Mississippi Minute, all 60 of them. I'm Steve Azar. It's just like that muddy river, moving slow. Ain't no worries, it's how life goes, baby. In a Mississippi Minute.
Hey folks, time for another In a Mississippi Minute. I am Steve Azar, as your music and culture ambassador of the birthplace of it all. I urge you to check out visitmississippi.org and plan your road trip, rediscover your Mississippi. Looking forward to today's guest for sure, with 2 decades and proudly under their belts. That's 20 years, by the way. My guest today is the original founding member of the Hen House Prowlers, ever constant in the group's electric performances, really known for their live shows, their ability to showcase their passion for music and folks all over. All 4 members possessing a knack for storytelling, which is key down here in Mississippi, you know, compelling songwriting and intricate instrumentation. They got their own thing going. A lot of crazy artistic prowess for sure. And they live for touring night after night. Rooted in tradition, yet unafraid to venture into new musical territory, the Prowlers, I'm giving away some of that, half of them, the Hen House Prowlers, occupy a space that defies easy categorization once that is constantly fresh. It stays relevant and captivating. To date, the band has toured 30 countries across 5 continents, collaborating with the U.S. State Department and through their own nonprofit, Bluegrass Ambassadors. These global experiences have not only shaped their worldwide view, but also reinforced their mission to build bridges between cultures through music. Come on, that says it all. For the Hen House Prowlers, the work extends far beyond the stage. They're deeply committed to using their art in the service of a more connected and compassionate world. Compassion, compassion, compassion. You hear me talk about it all the time. Their new album title is called Unravel. It's out. So let's get to it right now with the banjo man, songwriter himself, behind the scenes and in front of the scenes of the Hen House Prowlers, Ben Wright. What's up, Ben?
Hey, Steve. Thank you so much for having me.
All right. Where are you? What part of the world?
I am in Chicago right now. That's my home.
All right, so you're from Chicago.
I've been here for 25 years. I'm originally from upstate New York, but Chicago is absolutely my home.
Okay, we talked about upstate New York. One of my guitar builders back there that sent me a present. What part? Were you Rochester area?
A little bit, like central New York, so near Syracuse, so not too far from Rochester. Yeah.
You know, I got to tell you something. I didn't realize such music fans until, I didn't know upstate New York was that special when it came to fans. I played probably about 30 shows over my time there from about 2000 to probably 2000. I don't think I've been there in about 7 or 8 years, but the fans there are ridiculous. And y'all got a huge music history. I became dear friends with a group of guys, especially one, Andy Babiuk, who, was, still in the Chesterfield Kings, that worked at House of Guitars back in the day. And he has a band with the Ramones and little Steven from Springsteen and all that. They make records together and all that. And he's a great dude. But the music there and where you grew up, how did that history of where you were impact you and turn you into a music guy?
Well, it's funny. I agree with everything you're saying about the musical heritage of that region, of kind of the upstate New York region, which often gets kind of a lot of people don't even know it exists. They hear the words New York and they think of the city, but New York is a huge state. But I honestly didn't really get involved in music until I moved to Chicago. And once I was more deeply in tune to musicality, I went back home and realized how profound the music is in upstate New York. So you're totally right, but it missed me, and I discovered music in Chicago.
Do you ever go back sort of when you go home and see what was there and draw upon it and inspiration and song for you?
Absolutely. Most of my songwriting is about where I grew up. I've written a bunch of songs about that region because those first 20 years of your life are really impactful, and I didn't realize I could write songs till I was 25, and so I started looking back and writing about things that moved me as a younger man.
Yeah, I know. Isn't it great? You draw upon those times, and even though you feel like there are things that could be forgotten, once you start putting a pen to paper and you start channeling your past, it's amazing what will leak out and pour out. And it's on its own time a lot of times. So you could have been writing songs. I was writing songs at 11, and a lot of really, obviously very bad ones, but I was doing it and I was trying it and I was hooked, but spent a long time practicing, as you know. But it was funny because after I moved to Music City and spent 20 years, had success there, and moved my family back to the Mississippi Delta, all the things that I wanted to write about, and for some reason when I was in Nashville, I couldn't see it. And when I moved back home full circle with all of a sudden have 3 kids and everything, it all became so apparent. And for you, that's interesting that you've been able to draw. I was pretty good at it, but I'm telling you, if you ever move back home after this first big run of your career and then you go back home, you won't believe what will show up. It becomes a different thing. And I mean, writing from Chicago about where you grew up is a little different from being back there. And it just takes life, and I'm older than you, and that's what will happen. But with that said, okay, so how does it happen for you? Tell me, if it's this late in the game, music-wise, are you playing any sort of instruments as a kid? Are you into anything else?
I was, my mom was a flute player, and so I had music around me, and she insisted that I at least join choir. And so I was singing in high school, and that absolutely helped me in my 20s because harmony is such a huge part of bluegrass music.
Sure.
And so she for sure set me up with that kind of stuff, but it wasn't until I turned 22 and I literally randomly bought a banjo one day here in Chicago, and because I was surrounded by people playing music, and I wanted to play music, and I remember kind of consciously thinking, everybody I see plays guitar. I need to play something else.
So pick the guy up with one missing string. Is that what you decided to do?
That's right. Yeah. And so that's what I started on.
Come on. You're 22 years old. So how many years have y'all been touring?
21.
And so how long did it take before you guys were fully in motion?
5 years.
This isn't fair. You know this, right? I think my interview's over with you right now. I've had enough of you. You remind me of my boys, Darius and Sony, Mark and Dean of Hootie and the Blowfish. Oh yeah, it was our first album together. And when they had the 25 million albums, I said, you know what? I never did like you guys. I think you guys are awful. Anyway, now I love it because that's interesting. So how do you feel like as a banjo player you developed that fast, and as a songwriter? I mean, what do you think it was?
I don't think it was fast, honestly. I mean, I was inspired by other songwriters around me. Chicago has a really deep songwriting tradition.
Sure.
John Prine, Steve Goodman, bluegrass music, most people start off playing the traditional songs, and that lasted us for several years, just playing trad bluegrass covers in bars. But eventually you want to start creating your own identity. And I was watching, there was another guy in our band when we started named James who wrote amazing songs. And you watch people react to those songs and get emotional. And you're like, well, I want
I want
is
to
that
do that.
something I can do?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Okay. All right. We're going to take a quick break because Ben Wright has really upset me already. It's an easy game for him. The Hen House Prowlers, their new album, Unravel, is out. These guys are awesome. He's a good dude, as you can tell. We're getting to know him together right in front of each other. This is what I love about this show. Andy Griffith's Front Porch has nothing on this show. Come on. I'm Steve Azar.
Say we're in cold water, but I do believe we're in cold water, and I shall believe.
Listen and watch all your favorite SuperTalk Mississippi shows live and on demand. Listen to tons of music. Plus, get the latest breaking news from across the state with the SuperTalk Mississippi app. The SuperTalk Mississippi app. Download the SuperTalk app on your iPhone or Android device now for free. Just search SuperTalk Mississippi in your app store on your mobile device to get everything Mississippi all in one place. The SuperTalk Mississippi app. Get it now.
The one by
Silver whistle and an old clipboard.
Rolling into a Mississippi Minute. Ben Wright, my guest from the Hen House Prowlers. We're going to get to why that name in just a little bit. As you can tell, he started late and was successful early. I mean, that's a remedy and that I reckon. I mean, that's a recommendation for all you guys out there to lock in and focus. And I want to dig into more of this process that he and his guys have. It's a pretty cool story for sure. Their new album is called Unravel. It's out. So check that out now. Visit Mississippi.org. Are you kidding me? The music that's left here. I've been right there with Buddy Guy, where he grew up, giving him a blues trail marker, and to my right, there he was, and Jimmy Vaughn was to my left. I've told this story, and it was a beautiful moment on the levees just across the bridge over in Louisiana, and I was blown away by the feeling and the air and the spirit and how sweet Buddy was. And he's amazing. He's right there with today's guest, Ben Wright. Ben, first of all, one of my dearest friends is Dan Tominski from Allison Krauss Union Station. We have been on the golf course more times than we need to talk about. We've shared the stage more times. We're in a lot of charity events together. We are true buddies. He comes down to the Delta to help us raise money every time he can. It's been a lot of times. We missed him this year, but I think about you guys in bluegrass and the style of pickers that you guys have to become because you guys are first judged by your peers more than any other genre of music, maybe jazz as well. The two categories I would think that you got to get past your peers first to be considered legitimate. You guys are fantastic and you are legitimate. As you guys have been on this journey together, you obviously have not only been accepted by the Americana bluegrass world, but you're actually doing more about it with y'all's mission to help others and spread the culture. Can you tell me about why you guys are so into not only playing music but giving back?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, yeah, you said a lot there, and it's very clear to me you truly do understand the acoustic music world. But, you know, we did struggle for a while feeling legitimate in that scene. Chicago is not traditionally a bluegrass town. And, but that being said, there is undercurrent of folk music here that is not hard to fall into, which is what happened to us. But, you know, I guess I have this belief that every band has a wholly unique path, and you can't really compare yourselves to other bands, as tempting as it is. Mm-hmm. And, you know, what happened to us happened pretty organically. At about year 10, we got invited, or we applied for this program called American Music Abroad that is an extension of the early jazz ambassadors programs with the State Department, where they sent bands around the world starting in the 1950s to kind of, I like to say, and I believe this, that, actual diplomats realized that the best diplomats in the world are musicians. And music.
Well, there's been podcasts about this with the CIA back in the day, and
Winds of Change.
Winds of Change, man. That's crazy.
That's a great podcast.
Oh, it's insane.
And it really, that work continues to this day. And that's what we kind of got wrapped up in. And they had this moment on one of our early tours. We had learned a local song. We were in Nigeria, and we learned this song, Chop My Money, it was called, by this duo called P-Square. And we played it on the 4th of July in Abuja, the capital. And the original artists were there. And he came up to the edge of the stage and said, I heard you guys learned my song. And it scared the crap out of me. And cause he had this purple suit on, he looked like $1 million. And I said, we did. And he said, well, I'll be listening. And there were about 1,000 people there, and we started playing the song, and he jumped up on stage and turned us into his backup band without any preparation.
Sure.
It was just like pushed our singer out of the way and started singing with us. And the audience just lost it. And it was really this moment where we were like, holy cow, like the power that music has to connect people. We were playing in front of 1,000 Nigerians as 4 long-haired white dudes from Chicago. And all of a sudden we had 1,000 friends. And that really was the genesis of us really realizing the power that we had to make these connections. And that became the beginning of us starting a nonprofit and continuing to do that work. And, this is reductionist, but 30 countries later, here we are talking,
I love that. And you talk about nonprofits. My wife and I started our foundation many years ago in Nashville, but our contributions, what little we were making back then, would always go to the Mississippi Delta for mostly arts programs in the Mississippi Delta where I grew up, and sick and disadvantaged children. And when we moved back home, it really became a real thing where we weren't giving small numbers away, but also being able to get involved and being able to be with the kids and being able to spread it that way. And a couple of my bandmates now, one was with BB, where he was like the guy that ran BB's foundation events that all were about children, getting instruments in their hands and getting an opportunity, from the BB King Museum to Club Ebony and all that. And I spend a lot of time with him on stage now, making records and all that. And he's been a tremendous educator. And so is the guy that sits and plays keys for me now. He's one of the younger guys, and he is a tremendous educator now. He was taught by him, and now he's spreading it. He's got a music academy, and they're taking it out of our schools and stuff. It's one of the things, and we've been able to put a whole music curriculum program into my old school, where my dad was the first graduate at a Catholic school down here, and where I graduated, and eventually our kids would graduate. But and we're doing a lot more for boys and girls clubs and Camp Looking Glass, all these wonderful, wonderful beneficiaries that have these programs that, especially around the summer, that keeps kids off the streets and give them opportunity to fall in love with what we do. So to the extent, what are you guys doing with some of these seminars that y'all are doing?
Yeah, so, you're just on the money with all that stuff. We do a lot of school programs where we kind of give kids a background about how bluegrass music is, a truly American heritage. And we bring instruments with us and give the kids an opportunity to actually put their hands on them and feel them, and ideally inspire them to think of themselves as the next generation of artists to come out of wherever we are. And we usually build this custom programming that talks about artists from the area that went on to inspire millions of people and give kids the opportunity to see themselves that way. And like, you get it, man. That is the key, like to making sure music continues to grow and thrive in America, you know?
I mean, to me, when it's all said and done, if we don't put ourselves in a situation that can allow us to become the mentors rather than the ones being mentored by others, if you don't carry on that tradition, and you guys are doing it in numbers, and that, I got to tell you, man, that moves me. That is beautiful. And you guys are going to be rewarded one day by the pearliest of gates. I can tell you. Everybody right now, let's take a quick break. Ben Wright, my guest, Hen House Prowlers. They've been doing it a long time. Toured 30 countries. Are you kidding? And while they're there, they're giving back and helping kids fall in love with music, which you never know. You may see somebody at Madison Square Garden that'll come from that, or you may see somebody that just changed the outlook of their entire life to the better. I can tell you that's what music does. It allows you to be vulnerable and compassionate and have empathy, and the rest is history. Plan a road trip. We're the birthplace of America's music, and Chicago has had a lot of our folks from Muddy Waters on down that have spent their lives back and forth to both hallowed grounds. We're with Ben Wright. We'll be right back.
Let me tell you why I don't let things slide. If you can live through me, you can get through life. Around here, what I say goes. Out here, what I say goes. 'Cause I'm the coach. I'm the coach.
$20,000 available for first-time home buyers. Hey folks, Steve Azar here. Helping is the heart of our friends at Guarantee Bank. They offer programs like the Home Buyer Equity Leverage Partnership Grant that can assist qualified first-time home buyers with up to $20,000 towards down payment and provide home ownership counseling to empower you on your journey. These funds are first come, first served. Learn more about this program and to apply now, go to gbtonline.com. Guarantee Bank, member FDIC.
You know that nowadays, most people go online to look at a business before they spend their money. What if the online information about your business is incorrect, or even worse, not very flattering? If your online presence isn't great, you may be losing customers. STMM Digital's trusted and highly trained team is the answer. We're ready to work with you to help your business capitalize on the power of digital marketing. Call 601-991-2305 or go to stmmdigital.com to get started today. In a Mississippi Minute with Steve Azar, right here on SuperTalk Mississippi.
Hello world, here I am standing over this little old town called America. On precious stone,
Ben Wright, my guest today, the band. Come on, the Hen House Prowlers. I mean, I can't wait to ask him about where that name comes from. It's after this, and his and his band's new record is called Unravel. They've toured 30 countries. They've been on 5 continents, and everywhere they go, they're working with the State Department and State Departments of different countries and changing the playing ground forever, giving opportunity to kids to play music. So not only are they going to entertain people, but that's like a win-win. That's, is A or B right? It's actually C, all of the above. That's what they're doing. Visit Mississippi.org. Come on. You know what I'm talking about. We're the birthplace of America's music. Get on the country music trail. You'll see mine here in Greenville in front of Jim's Cafe. Blessed for that. All right. So we're talking to Ben Wright. Ben, where the heck does the name the Hen House Prowlers come from?
I wish I had a more sexy story about it. I mean, we were starting the band and we were trying to think of cool names. You know, I think bluegrass sometimes has a problem with band names kind of all sounding the same, the something boys, you know, and it just, I wanted something that was fresh, but also indicated something a little, risque. And I think it was my girlfriend at the time sat down and came up with like 50 different names, and the very last one was Henhouse Prowlers. And I liked it immediately. I brought it to the band, and everybody was like, that's it. Like
the very last one.
Yeah, it was. It was 50 names, and the very last one was Henhouse Prowlers.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And it's like, you can tell it's a bluegrass band from the name, but it's kind of got a little bit of an edge to it, and it stuck, and people liked it. So
I got some Henhouse Prowlers across the street over here. Some of our friends have some things going on over there. Don't worry, we get the eggs, but that's part of the deal. But there's some prowling going on. I can hear it at night. All right, so maybe that's you guys out there. I knew it sounded better than screams of, 10 chickens and all that. All right, so let's talk about touring and stuff. So when you guys go make a record, do you go, okay, it's time to tour? Or do you make a record and tour like 5 or 6 different times and like spend 3 or 4 years doing that and then come back and make a record? Like, when I was a kid, they would go out and tour for a couple years hard, and then next thing they'd take a break, then they'd make an album and they'd drop it. And next thing you know, they're touring again for 2.5, 3 more years. It took that long to get around the world. So for you guys, how do you guys proceed with writing from the start of the conception and thought of the album to the recording process to this getting ready for a tour, then the tour?
So that has changed over the years, and we signed with Dark Shadow Recording out of Nashville a few years ago, and this album Unravel is the second album we've done with them, and they've changed our process in a really positive way, and we schedule the whole thing out over the course of about 8 months and know that we're going to get together in about 3 months and hash through all the songs. So this last for Unravel, there was probably 45 songs to choose from amongst the 4 of us. And we sat down and decided Stephen Mogen is the engineer and owner of the label. And he kind of he broke it down to about, I think, 25 songs. And then we arranged them all. We spent a week here at my house in Chicago. We arranged them all and see how they feel once they're arranged. And kind of make decisions based on that. And really, they do kind of organically pop out, like, oh, definitely that one. Let's put this one on the maybe list. And then we kind of make some tough decisions. And I think there is some, honestly, we are a group of 4 guys. There's no band leader. There's John and me who started the band 21 years ago. But Chris and Jake are equal contributors. And so there is thought put into making sure everybody has a voice, but also maintaining the quality of the songwriting. Thankfully, like, everybody in this band can write and writes really compelling stuff. And so we pick the 12 songs that are definitely going to go on the album. And this time we had about 2 months to kind of woodshed them and get them into good shape. And honestly, we played a bunch of them out live and didn't really say anything about it and kind of gauged the audience response, tweaked some things. And then we went into the studio, and over the course of 5 days, we banged it out. And this time we were so much more prepared, and it showed. Like, we were able to go in and do 3 songs a day and really, and I think that's the plan moving forward, is making sure we've got enough time from those original arrangement sessions to the actual studio to get it really comfortably under our fingers.
I want to jump in real quick and say this.
Yeah.
There's 2 ways for me that I figured out it works for me and for a lot of other artists that I produce, is either you're going to start with just the song and the artist and they're playing, and you're going to capture that as if it would be a hit without anything else on it. You got to make sure that that's magic. So everything else that you build from there, if you're building it, right? If you build from that, they can't get in the way of how it's supposed to feel. I had the worst luck in the world and worst time making records, you'd go in for the first time, and when you were dealing with even the greatest musicians in the world who became friends of mine, but hoping that it worked out the very first time when you had to get 3 songs in 3 hours, I mean, the chances were slim and none for me especially. So, but you just said something. The best way is when you and your guys have taken a song and you've been on the road and you have tested it and worked it out. And then when you go in the studio, there are 0 surprises. If there are, they're a welcome surprise.
Yeah.
So I love that you guys are doing it that way. You know, when you just start out, were you able to do it was it as convenient for you time-wise? Probably not, or maybe it was. Was there ever a time in the middle when the success started happening where you didn't have the time to do that? Or has that always been the way y'all have done it?
No, I mean, it used to be we were clumsy about it. We used to go into the studio with a list of songs and no arrangements and do it in the studio and then have to like manufacture a solo over a break without any time put behind it. Yeah. And like, that's good. I mean, I'm glad that we're good enough musicians to kind of hack through something like that, but it is not something I turned around and thought I put enough time into that, you know?
Yeah. You could overcook it. Like you could get to the point where you become Absolutely. Your worst enemy, right? Like at some point stop. But then again, the way you're doing it now, it's the no-brainer because you're letting the people also help you decide.
Yeah.
And there is a power in the people. You and I both know that the first time people hear a song, well, back in my day on the radio, or if they hear a stream or something and it starts to grow and populate, people start to gravitate. You can sit here and say, oh, whatever, but it's when it becomes real like that and there's nothing that helped it except for those people hearing it and going like, have you listened to this? Have you listened to this? And it starts to spread. I mean, that is the magic sauce. And to be able to get that, I want to talk to y'all about, I want to talk to you about, first of all, how you and your guys all met, because that's important. And you guys have been together 20 years, the same 4 guys?
Yeah, 21 years as of yesterday. Not the same 4 guys, but,
okay. But the band.
The bass player and I, John, together. We started the band.
21 years ago.
Yeah. And then
wow.
Chris joined us, I think, 8 years ago, and Jake's been with us for almost 6.
That's great. That's great. I've got it from guys that are like that, but I've got one guy 30 years, one 25, one 20. And the guy that was 25, he was my tech, and he became my guitar player because my guitar player retired to go fishing. So I mean, it's like it hadn't been a lot of guys, and I like to keep it in the family, especially when they're. And my guitar tech is, to be honest with you, has turned out to be a monster on guitar. Anyway, we'll get back to that. It's not about me. It's but it could be about my guitar player, Chris Schultz. I'm giving you a shout out. Visit awesome. Mississippi.org. Come on, plan a road trip. I'm going to get the Henhouse Prowlers on Mississippi soil before it's all over with. They got to play here. That's what I'm talking about. Steve Azar with Ben Wright of the Henhouse Prowlers. Their new album is out called Unravel.
Falling out of a rocky blue and risen sky, I'm gonna fly. Watch me fly. I'm gonna fly.
$20,000 available for first-time home buyers. Hey folks, Steve Azar here. Helping is the heart of our friends at Guarantee Bank. They offer programs like the Home Buyer Equity Leverage Partnership Grant that can assist qualified first-time home buyers with up to $20,000 towards down payment and provide home ownership counseling to empower you on your journey. These funds are first come, first served. Learn more about this program and to apply now, go to gbtonline.com. Guarantee Bank, member FDIC.
We're all alone in I don't know whether I'm sinking or swimming with you. Is you and me together, yeah, I don't know better.
Ben, let's talk about how you guys, and, I'm sorry, real quick, you and the founder.
John, the bass player.
John, the bass player. Tell me how you guys get to know each other.
You know, we get asked that question a lot when we're working with kids, and I think the answer we always give them is when you're in a city, a larger city especially, and you're into a specific genre of music, you're going to run into all the other people that are into it because you go to the same shows, you go to the same music stores. And I think John and I met at a show at a little club, and had a conversation, and then somebody asked us both to sit in a band together, and we did, and that band was kind of, not something we felt that excited about, but we eventually got several other guys together after getting to know each other, and a Tuesday night gig opened up at a hole-in-the-wall bar in a neighborhood, and we were like, let's do it. And we played that residency for 10 years. And that's where we cut our teeth, was playing every Tuesday for a decade.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. What part of Chicago is that in?
In Rogers Park, a neighborhood on the north side.
North side.
A
wow.
scrappy neighborhood. Yeah.
And so that became, and now when y'all are not on the road, do you still go back to this resident gig?
No, we haven't done that in more than a decade.
Are you saying you got too big for him? I'm going to call the owner. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. No, you want to get too big for him. That's the goal. That's nothing wrong with having ambition, and you want that to turn into where the Bulls play. I mean, that's what you want. Come on.
Yeah.
So what about the other guys? It sounds like y'all. How many other bandmates have there been in the 21 years?
Oh boy, a lot.
So y'all have gone through the other guys.
Yeah, and I think a lot of that had to do with playing 230 shows a year for about 7 years.
You just said it.
We burned through some dudes.
Yeah, because they don't want the. With all due respect, they may love music, but they don't love everything that music entails and what it takes and the time away from family. And this, you got to love it that much.
You do, and I don't blame anybody for changing their mind about things, but we've gotten to the point now where we realize that really about 100 to 115 shows a year is the max that allows us to be home enough and also allows us to make enough money to live semi-comfortably and do what we love, but still have wives and some semblance of normality. So it's taken us 21 years to figure that out. It really has.
I grew up playing and doing all this stuff, but by the time I was a senior in college, when I graduated, I had 220 one-nighters on the books. We had 10 guys on the payroll. We had a full road crew. It's no music. It was fun music, and the people were coming in droves, but thank goodness we couldn't record it back then, because everybody remembers the memory. They remember the songs, but they don't need to remember into detail the songs, because it was just a good time. So, but I would go through bandmates. I'd go through. It was awful experiences that made me sad and broke my heart. And I went through all that, and then finally, when I got signed in Nashville, actually John Prine's manager, Al Bonetta, was one of the first people to offer me a publishing record deal. And he said, don't do anything. Well, I'd waited 27 years. And to finally, because I was always going to New York and LA and got close, but not there yet. And John Prine's guy, Al, they're both in heaven right now. Al, said, do not do anything. I'm going to sign you when I get back. You're going to meet John, da-da-da. Well, I'd got another offer right before, and his offer I should have took. And when he comes back 2 weeks later, he goes, I'm ready to meet you and John to meet. We're going to do da-da-da. I said, I've already signed. He said, you couldn't wait 2 weeks. I said, I've been waiting 20-something years since I was 11. Well, so 16 years. And I said, I couldn't wait 2 more weeks. And we became great friends. And when I left Universal, he was the guy I went to. He taught me how to do this. I've had my own label since then, and I've had some success hit-wise and number one video and et cetera, big film tracks and all that. But I changed the way I did things, and all that. And he was the guy that explained to me how. And before he passed away, I bet I talked to him a dozen times on fixes. And I've been able to be so happy and even more successful than when I was on with Mercury and Universal. So John Prine's legacy is important to me. I met him a couple of times. He was a beautiful soul. And I'm telling you right now, I've seen bands get on stage with all the noise and they were big bands. And when John Prine got up by himself, he was thunder and lightning and they were just puffs of smoke.
Man,
that's how powerful he was to watch by himself.
I'm lucky to say that my very first concert ever when I was 11 years old was John Prine. My dad was obsessed with him, and
he's so good.
I would 100% agree with you. I would see John Prine live over anything else.
Yeah.
Because
isn't it crazy how powerful he was by himself?
Oh.
I mean, like, I used to go, he's the last act, and I go, never mind. First time I saw that, then I said, I'm sorry, I apologize. That's the greatest thing I've ever seen, and it sounded like I was hearing an orchestra with him, you know? All right, well, we've run out of time. So good to get to know you. Blessings to you and your bandmates and John and all you guys are doing for music and the world in general. It's a beautiful thing, and I promise you, this isn't the last time we'll see each other. I'm going to get you down on Mississippi soil if it's the first or last thing I do. I'm Steve Azar. We've been with Ben Wright later on.
I'm Steve Azar. In a Mississippi Minute, all 60 of them, where you can take your sweet time.
A SuperTalk Mississippi Media production.